Roll the corn. We know the truth now. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. Put where you're from and put the corn in the chat. Put where you're from and put the corn in the chat. We know the truth now. Peace to my beautiful people from this beautiful land. Love you and I'm in love with you. Easy Chef, what up? Soundwave, Chief of the Land. Hit the like button, hit the share button. Put where you're from and put the corn in the chat. Rudy Ray, LA, what up, bro? Roll the corn. Soundwave, what's up, brother? Latoya Janelle, roll the corn. Too Gracious. Florida Chief. Who Rat, what up? Mobile, Alabama, Everything Nature. Carl Macon, what's up, brother? Soundwave. Tennessee, a new Nike. Sonny D, what up? Roll the corn. Now, yesterday, right? Me and Rashad Poet had started a conversation about nature and about the real meaning of words and taking it back to the basics of where a lot of the knowledge come from, right? Because Casey Macon, what's up, brother? We got to take it back to where the knowledge begins, right? And by doing it, you got to go back to nature. So going back to nature and explaining things through a nature standpoint, we get back to our true meaning of the knowledge in our agriculture, right? So taking it back to nature, like yesterday, if y'all missed the one yesterday, if y'all missed the live yesterday, please go to my YouTube and watch that, because Rashad Poet has some key points, right, about nature. And he talked about culture means to till the soil, people. That's our original culture. That breaks a lot of codes, right? Culture means to till the soil. That breaks a lot of codes because that shows who is the advanced culture on the planet, right? The people who tilled the soil, the people who put crops together to make corn, the people who showed respect to the land and the field, right? Those are the people most connected to the Most High, most connected to nature, most connected to the universe and the underworld and everything. Those are the people who created it, right? Those are the so-called Hebrews. Those are the Atlanteans. You get it? So when we speak about this is powerful information to our culture because these are our people, right? We are the agriculture. All the way up into your grandmama moved from the farm into the inner city, right? She comes from that culture. That's why our people was always farmers in these small towns all throughout the Tamari, right? That automatically links you to a higher power, right? When your people get out there and do this, this automatically links you to a higher power, because this teaching is what we forgot, people. See, we thinking about, right? We think a lot of people who teach the information, they want to think about pyramids and you know, all this extra stuff, but it ain't no pyramid knowledge if it ain't for agriculture, people. It ain't no mound knowledge. It ain't no Samaria. It ain't no Egypt. It ain't no American Indian. It ain't no culture. Ancient culture of our people would have been great without our agriculture. This what creates the language. This what creates it creates the ancient languages. It creates the ancient belief system. It creates Thoth. It creates the mother goddess. It creates all of these things we talk about. It comes from the land. Because to be connected, you got to be connected to the land. It's just that simple. So if y'all didn't watch the live yesterday with Rashad Poet, where he started out talking about culture, culture comes from tilling the soil, taking care of the land. Go watch that one if you ain't watched it. Then we're gonna finish that. We're gonna finish that today, because even I need to hear like what he's saying, because it goes along with everything that I've been, you know, teaching the last couple of months. So y'all lock in with Rashad Poet, because what he's saying is so powerful. You just gotta listen to it, then understand the first agriculture people are the greatest people on the earth. And like I told y'all, Choctaw come from Shak-La, which is agra. It all go together. That's not a Native American word. That is a Hebrew word, a Paleo-Hebrew word turned into a tribe name, right? So Choctaw comes from Shak-La, right? The Chickasaw come off of it. The Muskogee Creek tribe come off of, these are all agriculture tribes, and these are the so-called 12 tribes they talk about in the Bible, right? Because like I showed y'all, the Captarim is the Cretan, the Sidonian is the Phoenician, Mizraim is Egypt. So all these are agriculture bloodlines, people. You got to understand that. These other people ain't even got no names. They ain't got no bloodline. They ain't got no records of their history up until 2,000 years ago. Maybe 1,000, because the calendar off anyway. These people got 1,000-year-old history. AD. We got history that go back so far we can't even find it. So we are the agriculture. They are barbarous tribes, which means no culture. Now I'm gonna let Rashad Poet up, but listen to what he's saying about the connection, the agriculture. Then you can break the code on a whole lot of teachings that go along with this stuff a lot of people be talking about. Then you can understand it from another standpoint, because they taught it to us backwards, right? They taught it to us backwards. We gotta start from the dirt up, not space down. So they want you to learn from space coming down instead of dirt going up. You do that, you put everything backwards, and it messed the knowledge up, right? Roll the corn. Now I'm gonna let Rashad Poet come up. Now the live yesterday was so powerful. I watched it again myself, because it hit a whole lot of great points. So y'all put these two lives together, maybe three if we get another chance to soon to put if it go longer. But I want to finish this because it goes along with so much of the teaching. Y'all follow Rashad Poet, show Rashad Poet some love, man.
Hell yeah. Peace, peace, man. How you doing?
Roll the corn.
Shit, so I had to run yesterday. I was like, damn, it
But
was
it worked out. It worked out perfect though. It worked out.
it was a
It
good
was it
like
was it was enough great teaching stuff in that hour that it's better to do it this way anyway.
yeah, it was a nice cutoff point.
Exactly. So I think yesterday you stopped at like you were showing like the melanated Indian, like I think it was like a Mayan or something like that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Peace, Keisha. Yeah, I'm just getting pages together. So I don't wanna I don't be having all my receipts on screenshots, you feel me? So sometimes it'd be books and I'd be like trying to
But that's
figure out
cool.
what page this shit is on.
It's cool, man. Take your time.
But, but I'm gonna start with something just to remind everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You can start right back with the coach if you want to, because it's just powerful. It's powerful.
Yeah, I'm gonna get all right. So I'm gonna say this, and then it's gonna add up, right?
All right.
And then I'm gonna jump straight into the culture thing, right? Because this is something that made me think, and this is just something I stand on now, right? But it's connected to nature, right? Fundamentally, he cannot be a body. It's talking about like the infinite, but this is Muslim, so they're just saying he, right? But in another book, Mind and Soul told me that it says the all, right, instead of he, right? Fundamentally, the all cannot be a body or in a body. The all is different from all other beings, and in actuality, there is nothing in common except the name only, although not in the concept of the name. You feel me? So when I read that, I was like, oh shit, that reminds me of something. Because I had seen an image and it said something, right? A lot of people seen this before, right? The name is nature, right? So
Fire.
nothing in common except the name. So what we have in common with the infinite, with God, whatever you want to call it, is the name. It's nature. So when we reconnect with nature, we reconnect with the infinite. We reconnect with our essence.
And then I see one part that they say he is self-sufficient. So they're talking about being self-sufficient in nature, right?
Well, so nature is self-sufficient, and the it's called the PHYS, right? It's like phys, right? It goes into like physiognomy and things like that. But phys is the natural order of things, right? So
Exactly.
if the natural order of things are taking place, then shit is just like you don't have to manifest and you don't have to do all these other things. You just walking in your purpose, the natural order of your life. And whenever people get into that trajectory, you know what I'm saying? They don't really have to fight for nothing. Everything just like falls into place.
In the
You
place.
know what I mean? Because
Exactly.
it's always been yours the whole time.
Exactly. Because in Egypt they always talked about the natural order of things, and if it goes out of order, chaos will happen, right? And it won't go right. So they spoke about that a lot.
Facts. So like the chaos is like the four elements. Like we're made of elements, right? So the four major elements, this is the chaos, right? So you're supposed to be able to bring balance to these four elements and have self-control, right? Because somebody that's trying to
Yeah.
control you, they would try to pull out like a fiery temperament, which would be like the element of fire. That's what they try to pull out you. And then, you start operating in passion and shit like that. So then you become chaotic.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
So they was trying to control the elements to make a good harvest and all in the end at first.
Fact. I mean, I guess that's what this whole thing is about.
Started from,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Because even in alchemy, it's like, yo, let's see what's up with these elements and these different materials, and see what we can make, what we can break down, what we can find, what we can make pure. that had to be
Yeah.
that had to be like a thought process for everything. right? Because even when you talk about like purity and alchemy and all these other things, it always starts with like purity itself.
Exactly. Gotcha.
Like most medicine, like that, it's natural. You could like eat it. You can put it on your face and your skin. You know, your hair. You know, but their shit is for one purpose only. Pretty unnatural. All right. So culture, the tilling of land, act of preparing the earth for crops. Right. So when they talk about culture, what we were saying yesterday, well, was when they're talking about culture and you have no culture, we know that we dance and we got music, we have food, we have all these things. The culture you don't have is the land. You know, they've taken the land from you. Right. We got into the great land robbery, the great land grab on the Mississippi Delta primarily refers to the historical and ongoing systematic dispossession of land from black farmers and its current acquisition by large investment firms and corporations, right? So the same way you have redlining, you have all these other things that take place where they're fucking you over, right? They had the same thing going on with the land, right? Through these big investment firms and corporations and all different kind of things, right? Over the 20th century, Black Americans were dispossessed of approximately 12 million acres of land nationwide, right? Imagine what we could do with 12 million acres of land. You know what I mean? Imagine what we could do with 12 million acres of land and we get back into farming and taking care of ourselves. You feel me? I think one of the reasons why these things are able to happen is because we don't operate together as a nation. So, you know, nation building is a key, right? But we don't operate as a nation. So when people get screwed over, it's really just them versus whoever's trying to screw them over, and they don't have a nation behind them to protect whatever they have. Right? Because culture is also the customs, art, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or other social group, right? Nation. We got to get our nation back together. All this shit, like when you talk about culture and everything, it all needs to go hand in hand with nation building, right? Separating from the system and getting closer to God, right? Because God is nature, right? And what the system has done is taken you away from nature. That's all they've ever done, right? So they take you away from nature and then they give you alternatives, right? But alternatives is really like an alternate God. Now that we know nature is the most high, then an alternative would be an alternate God, right? And that's why the majority of the world is sick right now, right? Look, over 95% of the world's population has health problems, with over a third having more than 5 ailments, right? Now, when you talk to an herbalist, they'll tell you that the majority of the issues come from this, right? Parasites, right? And how do you get rid of the parasites? You get rid of the parasites with herbs. You feel me? So the
Exactly.
more land we have, the more medicine we got. What were you saying?
I say exactly. Exactly right.
Facts.
By losing all our ancestral lands, we lost way more than land. We lost the cure. We lost our health. We lost our connection to the planet. We lost so much by losing the land.
Exactly. They said we would go upwards to like 20 something years without knowing what sickness was. Now people are sick at birth, and then every change of season, right? What has to take place in order for these things to happen? They had to mess everything up, right? This is the Pequants are surely a warlike people, right? So this is talking about the Pequants and the Narragansetts. Did I talk about this yesterday? I don't remember.
Yeah, you
A
touched
little
on
bit.
it for a second. Yeah,
All
yeah, we
right.
talked
So
about the Pequot. Was the tribe that Thanksgiving happened, massacre happened. Exactly.
oh, and they had steel drills, and they were making stone pipes for tobacco, right? And it said that they were industrious people, right? Pipes and everything.
It's fire.
So they use so the archaeologists they use the pipes to try to determine how long they've been cultivating tobacco, right? But tobacco, all right. So tobacco is an important product, right? And it's important in so many different ways because it tells all kind of different stories. But it has a lot to do with the cultivation of the land, right? So this was one of the key crops that was being cultivated, you know, pre-colonization, right? Tobacco, right? So you got corn, you got tobacco, you got squash, beans, you got cotton, you got a whole bunch of shit going on, right? But this is one of the big ones right here too, right?
Exactly. And it's amazing that our ancestors were still growing these crops in the 1900s. It's crazy.
Facts. Shit. We only make up like 1% of the farms now, but you know, if you're lucky to find one of us, I wonder what majority of the stuff is that we are growing at these times, you know, so-called black farmers, right? But you know, so pottery created language. You know, it's one of the things that went into the creation of language with these pictures. This is the Europeans' depiction of a Virginia Indian, right? They call them tobacco Indians. So when you see these tobacco Indians all over the place, it's deeper than what you think it is, right? Because they said that the individuals they found were industrious, right? Industrious is important because if you're industrious, then you probably have industry going on, right? You probably got some shit taking place,
Exactly.
right? Industry, right? To build habitual diligence and effort, systematic work, right? So they told you that they came over here and found savages, but how are you a savage and industrious, right? And you take part in systematic work in building things with diligent effort. You know what I'm saying? That means that you already had something going on. And when they came here, they just got to eat off of what you already had happening. That's why every time you do your genealogy, you find all these farmers and landowners and everything because that's just what was going on here. That's what we already had going on. This has never been a surprise.
Exactly.
Nobody's been confused but us for a little bit. They know what's happening. But this is the tribe that they were talking about, right? These people got to fight for their recognition and stuff like that. But There's a reason for that, right? Because if you reconnect with the land, with your nation, there's a certain kind of power that you hold that can't nobody step on you. Sovereignty, but it requires land.
It's fire.
Right? So the tobacco, they said that it was being cultivated around AD 1, right? And although they use it in some social settings, indigenous peoples use tobacco primarily in ceremonies, right? It's called capnomancy, right? So when you use it in ceremonies, it's called capnomancy, and you use the smoke to tell to get different kind of messages, right? It'd be, you can use cigars, you can use candles, you can use, you feel me, right? Moses was using the cannabis, right? But
Yeah.
you know, when it comes to being connected with nature, you use something for all the properties that exist in it, right? Right.
It's
So when
that's
go ahead.
connected to necromancy too, right?
What is?
About the tobacco
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
ritual,
mean, depending on what
necromancy.
kind of depending on what you're trying to make happen, because necromancy is communication with the dead. So if you're
Hmm.
trying to talk to your ancestors, then if you're using tobacco in the ritual where that's happening, then it surely would be necromancy, divination by communication with the dead.
Okay, gotcha.
Hell yeah. So if you're reaching out to your ancestors, that's necromancy. you know, uh, and that's what our ancestors were on, right? That's what our ancestors were on. So everything that they do is to take away from what we've done. They just took what we've done and they turned it into foolishness. Because if you go to court and you deal with a judge and you're claiming to be black, right?
Yeah,
Black is from Niger, black, right? From necros, which means a dead body, and then that leads to necromancer. So if you go to court, the judge is a necromancer. That's why they summon you, because you're gonna show up as a color, which is pretty much dead, right?
dead man in law.
Yeah, so that's why the judge is a necromancer, and they summon your soul to the courtroom.
It's kind of like they use what we done like right against us. They took it. They learned it from us, and they use it right to target a certain people.
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's like that karate move where somebody's aiming a gun at you and you
Hmm.
just like do that weird little thing with your hands and then you just point it at them and you be like, gotcha. That's all that
Yeah.
shit is. You feel me?
Because
That's
they knew
all
we was using necromancy, they use it in court and still call us a dead man in law under their government. That's crazy.
facts. And then after you're convicted, right, you gotta do the exchequer chamber it's like it's from over there, right? But the concepts are still they. So this is the thing. They might change stuff, but conceptually, it's still what it's always been, right? So despite what they tell you it is, we know that you're operating off you know, the past. You're just trying to remix it so we don't see what's really taking place. But the exchequer chamber is where the king's debtors were held, and it's called hell.
Exactly. Exactly right. Let me ask you one more question before you go on. Um, they took this teaching and turned all of this teaching evil, and and they use like symbolism as like running the snake off the land, running the snake people off the land
Facts.
to go against everything we done. We know all this stuff started from us, but they took our culture and then flipped it and then act like everything we done was evil, which is like Baal and all that type of stuff. I've been kind of going through that stuff, and I'm seeing that they're demonizing things we done, calling it archangels and stuff like that, and that's crazy that they do that.
Oh yeah. It's crazy because they make us scared of it while they utilize it.
Exactly,
You know.
and that's crazy.
So like they'll tell you like if you got herbs and stones in your house and you're dealing with them, they'll call you a witch or a warlock or some crazy shit, right?
Yeah,
But if you go to and if you're dealing with the stars and all this and putting all this, you put it all together, they'll call you a witch and all that stuff. But in reality, that's what they're using. They're doing the same thing. They're just making you scared of it and demonizing you for it for you, so you'll turn it away, right?
exactly.
They took like they turned alchemy into chemistry by taking like the spirit out of it, right? And the reason why they had to take the spirit out of it is because they don't feel the shit that we feel. Like you know how we're connected to our ancestors for real, and we be knowing like on some spiritual shit what's really happening. Not
Yeah,
everybody's like that. So if you try to conquer the world, one thing you got to do is you got to try to take the spirit out of everything
exactly.
because they can't operate on that level. So if that shit is if we're freely operating connected to the spirit, right, then we're always gonna be in the know of something that they can't even comprehend.
So they're using it for land gain and material gain and monetary gain.
Facts and influence. I think
Hmm.
I think influence is like their biggest way of controlling shit, right? So imagine you don't have no strength, right?
Hmm.
But you have the strongest people in the world. And all you have to do is control them so that their influence controls the world. And then you got it. It's just like a record label with the best
Yeah,
artists. If you like the dude at the top is some pale skinned dude that has nothing to do with the culture. But his way of controlling all the fans is through his artist.
exactly.
That's the true influence because now the artist is like listening to this dude and the dude's like, man, you should make this kind of music. That's what the people are buying. And then the artist has no choice to listen because he's bound himself by contracts with the devil.
Exactly.
And and contracts come with consideration and everybody has to do their part. So if you sign a deal, then it is what it is. That's why the Bible says, come out of her, my people. You feel me? Because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to come up out of this shit and we're supposed to build our own nation. And there's nothing else to it. There's no other solution.
Exactly. Now what he's saying is powerful because this is kind of like the spell they use. It's like a reverse. It's a reverse thing of what our ancestors done. They just reversed it and they use it as a form of energy harvesting, um, monetarily and control wise, and it's like the Ashkenazi used the power of ancient things and they switch it around for monetary power and political power and land power. So we just have to learn to understand what they took and what they switched.
That means we have to learn everything.
Everything. Everything.
We got to go learn everything because
Everything.
they stole everything, right? They took everything, man. When I'm doing my research, man, I just be so amazed because I be like, when you watch movies, the evil individual is always a genius. You know what I'm saying? The the super hero is always dealing with a super villain, right? So it's like you can't underestimate these individuals, whoever they are. You know what I'm saying? You can't underestimate them because even though it seems simple, the shit worked. So we just gotta, but we're figuring it out. We're getting back to it. I guess the simplicity of it is what's making it even easier for us to like. Once you get a hang of it, you be like, okay, okay, okay. I see. You see whatever truth you're looking for everywhere you look, right? Because it starts to jump out at you.
Exactly.
It is what it is, man. But yeah, tobacco, right? These people know what they're doing. Industrious with the tobacco, right? There's a lot of mounds and things in these same areas, right? If you compare the maps, you'll see that there's so many things that take place, right? There's so many things in similar areas, and none of it's a coincidence, right? So if you look at this right here, right, this is where the tobacco is at, right? Let me see if I can find something real quick. All right, there we go. Right. So this is the Mississippians, right? Y'all remember the map I was just showing? We just doing comparisons because there's sinister shit that's going on, right? Very sinister things that be taking place, right? So we see that, we see that, and then we see the dams, right? Right. We see the reservoirs, right? There's there's over 90,000 dams. there's there's over 90,000 dams, right? According to the Army Corps of Engineers, the U.S. has 91,804 dams across all 50 states, Puerto Rico, and Guam, right? And they were using these dams. There was a time where they were creating these dams in these reservoirs by flooding towns, right?
Exactly.
So, so, but they have so much control over the water that they can flood a specific side of town. You feel me? So there's all different kind of ways that they were getting people off of their land so that they could conquer it and take it over, right?
Yeah, I was just reading about Tunisia in Tennessee. They said it was a Cherokee town, and it's a dam that flooded the whole town out, and can't nobody really see the town no more. Which came from the name Tanit or Tanis, which is still like some Hebrew Phoenician type mother goddess. It's crazy. They flooded it out. Tennessee.
And then they just said, like, I don't know if it's real, but I just seen a video where they were talking about they found some like waterfalls in Tennessee, and at the
Yeah, like a
bottom,
cave at the bottom. Yeah, I'm researching it. I ain't got to the bottom of it yet. I'm on it.
yeah, I was like,
That
God
is
dang, well, I was like, that'll be something to talk about.
there was like ancient glyphs down there in the cave.
Yeah, they said it was. They said it was saying how important America was, but we all know that shit by now, right?
Yeah,
We know that this is the land of milk and honey.
exactly.
All right, so as tobacco use increased in Europe, the crop became more profitable than gold for European traders and colonial farmers. In some colonies, tobacco was considered so valuable that it was used as money. On occasion, New England clergymen were paid wages in tobacco, right? And industry sprang up around tobacco growing and curing, especially in the South. By 1776, the crop was serving as collateral on loans obtained from France to fight the Revolutionary War against Britain. Now, the crazy thing in this for me is, what do you mean industry popped up? If you were just telling us not too long ago how industrious the people were that were already growing this shit in America since AD 1, right? So you're saying it took from AD 1 to 1776 for the industry to pop off? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. There's no way that that's true.
Exactly. It's
Let's
already
be
growing.
serious, right? Let's be serious. There was towns and all kind of shit when they got here. They found mansions and all kind of shit. You know, and you gonna tell me niggas wasn't? They were industrious, but not industrious.
Exactly.
Hard to believe.
All a lie.
All a lot. I'm trying to find. Hold on, give me a second. Right? Tobacco. You got cigarettes. You got cigars. Right? Cigars are rolls of tobacco leaves that are smoked. Right? A lot of people use cigars. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what y'all be using y'all cigars for, but a lot of people use them. Right? Y'all be rolling up. Roll the corn if y'all be rolling up. roll the corn if you be rolling up. People be scared to admit it, but you know they do. Right? Hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? This goes with the whole thing, right? It comes from the Mayan word for smoking, which is sakar, right? Sakar, right? Which mean, that's where they got the word for cigars from, for the Mayan word for smoking, right? But it's crazy how when you get to it, when you really start to break it down, you be like, oh man, this is treacherous, the things that they've done to us. Because everybody was rolling all this corn and shit about rolling up with cigars, not knowing you're funding the people who conquered and destroyed your people, stole their land, and are abusing them to this day, right? The Dutch masters, you know what I'm saying? These are the people that own the tobacco companies, right? This is generational wealth that they built off the back of your family's land and your family's souls.
The Dutch master. Crazy.
Yeah, right? These are the people that found ancient trade routes and followed them and conquered the people and just took over their industry and became whatever naires they are at this point, billionaires, trillionaires, multi-gazillion. I don't know what kind of heirs they would be, right?
Yep.
But they tricked us into being the cultivators of the land, to being the people who now purchase what was once ours, right? Imagine getting your ass whooped by a bully, and then they make you buy your backpack back every day, though, and they're not even stronger than you. Imagine that, right?
Exactly.
That shit is crazy. But they tricked us. Hold on, I got something else I want to show you. They tricked us. And when the devil gets their hands on God, you know what they do? You know, they flip the shit upside down. Let me see. All right. But it's all good, you know, if y'all do mess with the fragrant cane. If y'all do mess with the fragrant cane, you know, do it for ritualistic purposes. Don't just be in there doing nothing. Hold on, y'all. I'm a father, y'all. You know, tap the screen. Give me a second.
Put the coin in the chat. Put the coin in the chat. Put the coin in the chat. Cannabis is called kanai basam in Hebrew. Why is that's interesting that cannabis is in the Hebrew? It's all agriculture.
Ain't it interesting? You know what I mean? Cannabis is called Bosem in Hebrew, which is now recognized as the Scythian. Weren't you talking about the Scythians? I don't know. Scythian word that Herodotus wrote as cannabis, right? The translators of the Bible translate this usually as fragrant cane, i.e., an aromatic grass. Once the word is correctly translated, the use of cannabis in the Bible is clear. Large amounts of it were compounded into ointment, right? Hold on, there's gifts. The gifts are in the way. It's kind of consecrated as ointment, right? For the ordination of the priest. This ointment was also used to fumigate the holy enclosed place. The ointment absorbed through the skin and the fragrance of the vessels, both absorbed by handling and inhaled as perfume, and the smoke of the incense in the confined space would have been a very effective means of administering the psychoactive properties of the plant, since it was only the high priest, you know what I'm saying? Hey, that's why they used to hey, that's why they used to come down from the mountain talking about, I want God said you need to give us some cows. and they need to be burnt offerings. You bring us some cows and some lettuce for God. You know, they had the munchies. You know, burnt offerings. Make sure you cook that cow thigh before you bring it to us. You know what I'm saying? Because we're hungry. And spread the word, right? Yeah, it's the
because I found artifacts with cannabis still in the pipe, like coming out of mounds all up the Mississippi River.
Hey, look, man, we've been doing this shit for a long time.
Long time.
Hey, that's the thing about, like, when you start to do research, you realize we just always been like the same people.
Yep. Exactly. We way closer than we think we are.
Yeah.
We just got to switch the mind frame back into what it is really is. That's it.
All we gotta do is get out the system and get back to nature. I stand firm 10 toes down. If we get back to nature and we nation build, our minds will be so entrenched in that nothing will be more important. You know, once we really see like the benefits of it, you know, and then like nothing will turn us away from these things.
Exactly.
You feel me? Like they said tobacco had became worth more than gold to them. That's because natural resources that provide multiple things, medicine, fun, food, you know what I'm saying? Like this shit is the money because everybody needs it. If I didn't show you no gold, you'd probably be all right. But if I didn't show you no food,
Exactly. Then it's amazing that our crops all through history had a way of being currency. Corn was currency in Samaria. Corn was currency in Samaria. They wrote about it in cuneiform tablets about corn debt. And then same thing in Egypt. Now you get to tobacco. Now it's the same thing. It became currency to these places.
Exactly. So they use it for money, right?
Exactly.
But then these people come and start doing too much, right? They ship 20,000 pounds of it back to England, right? And it spread, right? But they were using it, like abusing it, right? So the Pope was talking about it. King James talked about it, right? Because it was becoming an issue, and now we know what it does to people now, right?
Hmm. Yeah, people got so addicted to it became an issue.
Facts, right? In modern times, tobacco use has gone beyond what indigenous people who first grew it ever would have imagined. Today, widespread recreational smoking has become one of the leading medical problems throughout the industrialized world. According to the American Cancer Society, 2.1 million people in industrialized countries unalived as a result of smoking in 1995, right?
Mm.
It's a major cause of heart disease. Tobacco is responsible for 30% of all cancer deaths. Damn. Right? Now, that's what happens when you let the devil touch stuff, right? That's what happens when you let the devil get their hands on shit, because tobacco is medicine. Medicinal properties: antiseptic, antispasmodic, cathartic, depressant, diuretic, emetic, expectorant. Now you got the narcotic, nauseant, sedative, right? But that comes from abusing what God gave you, right? Tobacco has been the go-to remedy in African American healing traditions for bee stings, insect bites, snake bites, earache, skin wounds, and other skin irritations. Externally, the nicotine in the tobacco acts as an antiseptic. Small doses of tobacco taken internally may have always treated constipation, expelled intestinal worms, right? Because
Mhm.
that's the key to almost everything, is to get rid
Now,
of these parasites.
now, when our great grandmothers, like, because my great grandmother did this to me a couple of times, rub chewing tobacco against a bee sting, and the bee sting comes out. That's automatically connected to something that 95% of the world know nothing about.
Exactly. You know,
Like,
like
where do they get this from? We got to ask ourselves these questions because that happened to me a couple of times when she
you,
rubbed the tobacco on my bee sting and it stopped hurting and it came out, right? And I was amazed.
yeah, that shit is amazing. Because I do wonder, like, how do you figure these things out? But
These
shit,
people are
maybe
connected to this stuff straight from the land. It's amazing, bro.
facts. Hey, look, it's got to be true. I know it because it's like when you be out there, you do you do just be knowing shit. Like you be putting two and two together outside. I don't know. It's something about just being outside. You start putting shit together. But I don't
Yeah,
know how
I
they.
saw. See, I saw. What? Why this stuff so interesting to me? I saw her do things like make syrup like out of sugar cane. Like that shit was amazing. Like
It's amazing.
she was making this clear sugar cane syrup. It might have been the sweetest syrup you ever ate in your life.
It's
And
amazing what we could do with nature.
exactly. And she used like fig jelly, like figs for a lot of stuff. A lot of she cured a lot of stuff with figs and like peppermint, like mint mixed with some type of liquid was colds. It was just amazing, like the stuff she just used to do with normal things just around the house.
And that's how it's supposed to be, man. That's I feel like so our ancestors, right? They hid a lot of stuff, but they still gave it to us. And I think it got to a point at one time where they hid it so good over time we forgot about it. Like we forgot the true meaning to it. Like going to church, I think we forgot a lot of like the hoodoo practices that were actually being shared in the church. And we just got caught up in the church. When it comes to like the different sayings that we use and all those things, I feel like just over time they became sayings, but at one time a lot of it had a deeper meaning and you were passing information. You feel me? Like
Exactly.
you know, our ancestors, like our grandparents, you know, they weren't about to send you to the hospital about just anything, you know.
Nah,
And
we're gonna
there was,
figure that out.
you know what I mean? There was a time where we used to be like, hey, we ain't sending you to no hospital. That used to be some shit that our ancestors used to say. Ain't sending you to no goddamn hospital. You
Exactly.
know, better go rub some dirt on that, you know, or something. But I think the reason why they were saying that initially was because they had the medicine all around the house and in the backyard. We're not about to send you to no hospital unless you done like broke something, right? But then over time, they hit us with reverse psychology, bro. They were like, oh, you know, black people don't send their children to the hospital because the bills or because the price. Black people are poor. You know, all these different things, right? You know, you can't afford health care and all that shit. But it's like, nah, you know, we might have fell lame to the game for the propaganda. But in reality, it's like, nah, our ancestors were saying that because God gave you medicine already. Right? So
Exactly.
why are you turning your back on nature if nature's already handled it?
Exactly.
Right? Like there's like this book is good. This book is good. And I like it because she interviewed people. Right? She interviewed these people for real, right? So this is Miss Sally McLeod, right? You know, she says she went upwards to like 80 something, I think. She said she ain't never really been sick for real. And she said whenever she is, she just uses some of the shit that's around the house, and she's all right. You feel me?
Hmm.
When she was talking about nature, she said it's God's medicine. God made the roots. He made them, and we didn't. He made them so you don't have to run to the doctor for everything, right?
Mm. Powerful.
You feel me? But that's because we're supposed to be cultivating land and fixing the land and you know, taking care of it. There was hey, look, I seen something today. All right, so tilling is generally so culture is tilling the land, right? Now, the difference between us and savages is we let land rest, right? So a lot of them were having issues with tilling the soil because, you know,
They never rested.
yeah, they never let it rest, right? So they just do it over and over and over and over and beat the soil down and
And
destroy
that's
the
a and that's a
microorganisms.
and that's an ancient Hebrew teaching of letting the land rest every 7 years. And my great grandmother used to do that too. Talk about that too. It's crazy.
Ain't it? Ain't it crazy how real it is?
It's crazy, bro. They really created this stuff. Like it really comes from our culture. Our people were still doing some of this stuff. We just didn't recognize what they were doing.
Exactly. And I think that's why when we like when you start to really look at it and you pay attention, like you gotta slow down. We gotta slow down and we gotta really start to focus, right? Time is more of an illusion than it is anything else. So we gotta really just kind of take a step back and relax and start looking at shit a little bit deeper. Take your time to contemplate on things for real. And then you'll realize that we've been operating in our true essence the whole time. We've just been distracted a little bit, but everything we do naturally is so connected to what's always been happening, what we do naturally. You feel me? But we, you know, i'm not just I'm not just reading books to y'all about growing food. You know, we're really getting started. It's so easy. You know, it's so easy to get started. You just plant a seed and it really just does what it's supposed to do. You feel me? You get one of these planters, depending on where you live, right? So you get your seeds, you look on the back, it'll tell you your different grow zones, everybody, right? Your different grow zones. So based on your grow zone, you'll know when to plant whatever specific seed while you're learning how to do it, right? It'll tell you everything you need to know. The different seeds have a different breakdown of it, but it's pretty much the same information every time, right? It's pretty much the similar information, the depth of, how you're gonna plant it, the row spacing, and everything like that, right? It's simple. You get it. You get a tray like this. You can get started early. They grow. You trim. You have to thin them if you got too many growing. You feel me? And just remember what you planted for the time when it's ready, right? Save everything so you can save your money. These things right here, I've had these for I don't know how long, but I use it as one of my transfer kind of pots now, so I don't have to keep buying little things. You feel me? We got all kind of shit going. Hey, we ain't playing. This is my son's plant right here. My son planted that at school, and he brought it home, and he was like, he wanted to plant it outside. So
It's fine.
we about to make that shit happen. He I don't know what he put in there. They must have put some Miracle Grow in his shit. They put some Miracle Grow in his shit. I don't know what he did. You feel me? But yeah, we growing everything. I gotta put some stuff in this back area, but we got the green peppers, the squash, the cucumbers, watermelons, right? So these are watermelons that I had still in the pack right here. So I planted those. These are marigolds, and then these are my watermelons, right? These are watermelons that I've been growing for about 5 years and saving the seeds every time. Now, I planted them on the same exact day, right? And if you look at these, they ain't all popped up yet, but mine all ready to go. I'm just saying, you feel me? Once you start to take care of shit the way you're supposed to, the universe recognizes it. You know what I'm saying? You recognize it because it adds power to your shit. You get that stuff from out the grocery store, but even when you get it out the grocery store, save the seeds, and then after a few years, it'll repair itself in nature, if you ask me. But we ain't just out here talking. We got to make this shit happen for real. We growing medicine. We growing all kind of stuff. It might not seem like a lot going on, but that's because I prefer to start outside. But I do a few things in here to just see like the difference that I get with everything that I'm doing. You know what I mean? But we do it in every aspect, right? So you go to the store, you buy a bunch of what are those sweet potatoes? You feel me? You buy a bunch of sweet potatoes, but you don't just eat them all. You set yourself up to get more. You feel me? And just make these things like natural things that we do. And the more we do it, it's gonna become second nature. Our children start doing it. The same way our children can pick up a phone and just and know how to use it better than us, right? This is the same thing that they'll do with like with the land, with the crops, with the herbs and everything. They'll be better than us. It'll be second nature to them. You feel me? They'll we want them to be able to walk down the street and look at plants and know what's up, right?
Exactly.
If my children are out playing in the woods and they scrape their knee, we want them to come home and it's already a solution taking place. they done they done squashed some root in the woods and rubbed it on their kneecap, and they come home talking about, oh no, we good. We already took care of that. That's
Right.
nature, right? Because it's just as much of it is cultivating and planting and stuff like that. It's also just taking care of nature in general, right? Reconnecting with nature is not just growing shit. It's creating a safe environment for everything that's natural. That's the job.
Yep. And the process and the steps and the patience teaches you how to move in life. That's what it boiled down to. After you learn the patience and the process and the doing things the right way, it transfers over to your life. and then you live your life a certain type of way from the teachings of that. So that's what our ancestors was really putting together, starting with that, going into the life cycle.
It's like the best kind of wisdom because it connects to absolutely everything.
Exactly.
It's just, the same thing like that I was saying with like the real medicine. You could rub it on your elbow, you could rub it on your lips, you could eat it. You know what I'm saying? It's good for all kind of shit. The same thing is with the real information. You can use it in so many different aspects, right? Like building mounds that are that are under a star system. So now I learned about building this mound. There's different purposes for these different mounds, but I also learned about the stars. So I'm learning astrology, I'm learning land cultivation, and I'm learning earthworks all in the same thing. This is a genius type of behavior. This isn't nothing little that's taking place. Imagine how long you have to watch the stars for the stars to do something that you recognize twice. You feel me? Imagine how much watching you got to do to get to that level, and imagine how strict and precise you have to be to pass that information down without anything changing and anybody fucking around until it comes back to that point, and nobody deviated from the actual mission. That takes a lot of mental fortitude, right?
Exactly.
Honesty, righteousness, and virtue.
And it said it took 26,000 years to pass that knowledge down of all of the 13 ancient zodiacs. 26,000 years in on this land, and then it got took out to other places. So that's how much of our history is hidden. We figured out the zodiac and the stars and the moon and sun movements all that time. Then we went around the world and taught it. But that's the part of the history that I want you to learn. They just think that these people just popped up with agriculture and all this knowledge of astrology in Mesopotamia, but that's not true at all. It happened over here, and then it was taken over there, and the
Hey,
bloodlines
yeah,
took
facts.
them.
You were
Exactly.
talking about the Phoenicians. I was like, yo, that's real. People
Yeah.
might think that that's crazy, but nah, that's the
Now that's
Phoenicians were
real.
here.
It's real, bro. That Sidon, they're the real name of the Sidonians. And Winterville Mound sits right in the middle of Sidon on the 33rd parallel in Mississippi. It's the Mississippi Delta. And the new Sidon that's in the Mediterranean Sea is on the 33rd parallel also. It's Tyree, the Tyree Cedars of Lebanon area. It's the same thing, and they use the stars to travel and put these places on the same parallel on the planet. And it's just amazing that our ancient culture could even put it together with stars like that and use it to sail over the Atlantic Ocean and do these things on the other side of the world. It's amazing. I want to show y'all this one receipt that was very powerful that I've been working on. Let me show it to him right quick, bro. Let me see, can I? This is a crazy receipt right here. Now, at the top it says, in the opinion that the Tartarians are the offspring of the 10 tribes. You see that? The first sentence, the Tartarians are the offspring of the 10 of the tribes, right?
Yeah.
So when we get into these ancient buildings and people be trying to figure out who they are, these are the same people who cultivated the land first, built the mounds, built the pyramids. Then they come start to build these buildings, and you could tell it took time because it says the offspring of the tribe. You see that first sentence? So this what I've been trying to show people the whole time. It's a evolution of starting with the agriculture. You get smarter and smarter and smarter in nature. You learn about electricity and and free energy and how to build these structures and that structure from coming from all the way back from culture, from tilling the soil. Because these tribes they're talking about are the first people to till the soil. That's a fact. And so I want people to understand how this stuff worked all the way up until these buildings sprung up and nobody don't know who built them, and people still speculating that Tartarians done it. But
Yeah, like Tartarians, it only means like remnant. It means remnants or remainders. So like when you say like not you, but when people say Tartaria, they're just talking about like the remnants and remainders of something, right? So for something to be Tartarian, right? You can accredit it to like the different style buildings, but it also just means like it's the remnants of of like the old world. You feel me? Like these people are sick, bro. If you look up the etymology of the word boulevard, right?
yeah,
Everybody has a boulevard in their neighborhood. You probably got one close to you. You might be on one right now.
exactly. I'm close to one for sure.
You close to one?
Yeah, I'm close to a boulevard for sure. Yep.
All right. So the next time you ride by that boulevard, just know that boulevard means of a promenade built atop demolished city walls. So what's beneath our feet?
That's crazy. It's a place called Clinton Boulevard down by Jackson, Mississippi. The college sits at one end with mounds on it, and Clinton Boulevard runs right from the college right down through the city. It's crazy.
Right?
It's
So now
crazy.
when you think about it in the sense of what the word really means, now you see like you can envision that block and be like, "Oh shit, I know what they did right here." It really means what the word means. Cuz we be nobody's ever like how often does a person say, not a person, but an individual say, "I wonder what a boulevard means." You know what I mean? That's just a word that just be sitting on signs, and we really just be like, "Yeah, it's just a boulevard's a boulevard."
It's a wide street, but really it's an ancient place.
Exactly, but it's of a promenade built atop demolished city walls.
Mm, crazy. Now let's put some of this in the context of what we're saying. It go back so far that it starts with the tilling of the soil, getting understanding nature and how nature works, and like that. Then you get into stars and the underworld and stuff like that. And the creation story starts with our people come from a mound. So our people start to build mounds that go along with these stories, right? Then they start building mounds for ceremonial things that go along with star alignments for agriculture. Then we start building temples and pyramids. Like the Mayans had temples, the Olmec had temples. Then you get into the pyramids, right? Now after that, you still are evolving as a people. Then you start to build these monumental buildings, 20, 30 feet, 20, 30 stories high, which are called these old world buildings. Now, if those bloodlines, which I know for sure came from Timeri, that means that our people are still the bloodline of those people who built all these monumental things. They went around the world and built it, and other cultures are claiming it because it was there before they even had a culture, but they want to claim the greatness of the bloodlines that's come from over here. And that's the way we got to start putting history in the context of how it happened, because that's what, through my research and the years out in research, that's what I see. Like if I seen something else, I'll tell the truth. But my truth is, that's what I see. I see it leaving here, evolving, getting better and better and better, and it pops up in other places and other cultures who happen to even mix with us or even saw us in these areas are claiming our greatness all around the world before they even had a culture.
Facts. Hey, look, I mean, What you want me to say, man?
That's
You
what I
know,
see. That's what I see.
when you tell the truth, you tell the truth. It's like, nah, I'm just playing.
That's what I see.
That's really what it is, man. We went around the world with some divine wisdom, and the divine wisdom, it started off as lore. Lore is like the sciences, right? And
Yeah.
then with the science, you give it to the everyday, you give it to all the people, and then it becomes folklore, and then that folklore spreads to other cultures, and it becomes allegories and mythologies because they start to translate things, and then they stop accrediting what they learned to the original people, and then next you know the story gets back to you, and it went from Rashad Poet, and we know the truth now on a live talking about agriculture to to
Some type of God.
to
Doing something.
Barry the Barry God, and you know the
Exactly.
flying down from outer space with two tobacco tablets. You know what I'm saying? You know, and
Exactly.
and
So
a
when
feather
they
pen.
tell these stories about all of this extraterrestrial stuff coming, it's a pumped up story of the real story that ain't got nothing to do with it. And I hate when our people teach it because it shows that they are not really studied enough. They're just like the people who trains the story in the first place.
The
Because they
worst.
believe a certain thing that they don't even know the research on, and they teach it as if it's true, but it's not true. It's not true.
Shit, I think they're worse, man. They're worse than the people,
They
right?
worse.
Because the only enemy that we could really ever have that's real competition is ourselves, right? So when they are us and they're doing that shit, it's 10 times worse, right? Because now
Well,
you have a far deeper influence on the children, the youth, you know, everything, because they want to look up to somebody that looks like them. So you're even worse.
exactly. And you supposed to know better. Like
Facts,
like
facts.
if I take a book from Zachariah Sitchin, right, and he telling me that Inky and Lil and the New is aliens, and they done all of this stuff, and the book was written in 1920 or 30 something
Word.
with a European YT man on the face of the book. Who is him to tell a story of our ancestry like that? Who is him? You know what I'm saying? So he's just writing a book to be known in the information community, but our people will literally pick this book up and use it as a source of some type of truth when it has no truth in it.
They'll turn that shit into a religion
Turn it into a whole religion.
immediately, quick.
So you're right. It makes our people look bad because we're taking information from people that ain't got nothing to do with
Ain't
this.
got shit to do with anything. Hey, look, what one of the things that holds our community back so much is like men arguing with women, and a lot of the roles that they talk about, they don't even know that these different things came from a gentleman named John Money. Go study John Money, and then come back and tell me that you know you want to argue these things, men and women fighting about foolishness that comes from people that are not our own, and is based on debauchery, right? You know, he was doing
What is it like? Is it like how men supposed to treat women and women? What's the basis of it?
so it goes into that, but the basis of his like study that made him famous was there was a boy that was born with both parts, so he got the parents to cut off one of the parts, and
Yeah.
the little boy unalived himself later on in life. But he did studies and research to go into those kind of gender roles, and also like the ones in relationships, but there's more people involved in those, you know what I mean? But the thing is, when you get in, when you go into the rabbit hole, you'll just see that none of that shit is connected with anything that we used to do or that we should be doing. a lot of people don't like the Bible, but Proverbs tell you that a woman is powerful. She considers a field, and with her money, she buys it and plants a vineyard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the whole
The
thing.
yeah,
See, the mother goddess comes from it. She's the first person to nurture the earth and nurture man, right?
facts,
So she the first person to put the seed in the ground. The woman figured out that the earth was like a mother. So I treat her like a woman, and then the seeds come to the earth, and then you produce. The woman figured that out. That's why the mother goddess is associated with Mother Earth, right?
facts. They say the woman created civilization. You
Exactly.
know, because their behavior is the behavior of a woman, a virtuous, righteous woman, is what creates civilizations, right?
Exactly.
And everything that they do in a modern sense, they kind of make it seem like it's a weak task, but in ancient times, everything that women do is what kept nations together. So it's like I get it. They tricked you into being a part of the system, just like they tricked everybody else. But the shit our grandmothers were doing, though, it was
That's it.
powerful.
Powerful.
It might
Powerful.
it might look like, yeah, it might look
It's
like
so
go
powerful.
ahead.
My great grandmother been gone for over 12 years. Over like I think it was like 14 years. But I still feel the power. That's like the only person I still feel they power, and they've been gone for so long, and it's a reason for that. The nurture of these people is amazing. Like once a person really nurtures you out of just love for their people, and, and you might not never get it again,
Facts.
but
Because it's
but
genuine.
you and it's genuine. It comes from a place of connection to your people, and that nurture will never be forgotten, bro. I don't care how old you get. I don't care what you go through. It'll never be forgotten.
Hey, damn, I just got the chills thinking about my grandmother. I love her. Rest in peace. Well, not rest in peace. I don't believe energy should rest. You know what I'm saying? So
But that
do
energy
whatever
don't
you got
rest.
to do out there. You feel me?
Whatever you gotta do, man.
Yeah, do what you got to do out
It's
there.
hard to put it into words. A great
Yeah,
feeling like that
for real.
because these people took care of you when they didn't even take care of themselves.
Facts.
Like my great grandmother had got so old, she was still trying to take care of us. We were trying to help to make her sit down and take care of her, but she couldn't do it. Like it was just in her nature to
To
get up
take care of shit.
and help and make sure you okay, right?
A host.
And that feeling is what life is all about. Like what that feeling she give us, that's what life is all about. That's
Hey,
how we're really supposed to feel in relationships and in life in general.
and you know why your grandmother was so powerful, other than all the amazing information, is
Yeah,
because at her level of wisdom, she just wants to, like, when grandmothers look at you, they don't want to mold you into something. They want to see who you turn out to be. They're
exactly.
interested in seeing who you turn out to be. So you love them because they let you be you with structure. The most
Yeah.
structure you probably ever felt before. You know what I'm saying?
And
But
they was personable.
yeah,
Because I had cousins who were just buck wild, right? And she used to always say like he got like a warrior energy, and you got like a thinker's a future thinker energy, right? So I treat y'all different under her umbrella of love. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't just treat everybody the same. They treated people. They gave our people what they needed for their personality. I'm gonna say it like that, and that's hard to do because some people just treat everybody the same. You see what I'm saying?
a lot of people do that, man, and that's something that we struggle with, that we got to get out of. And I think what that kind of spawns from the school system, bro. Like, because that's how we got used to learning. Like, you got to learn like this. So when we're dealing with people we care about, unfortunately, the indoctrination will make us teach the way we were taught.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of our teaching was through the indoctrination of where you can ask questions, right? They tell you there's no such thing as a dumb question. They tell you to ask questions, but they don't never tell you to question things. Those are two different concepts. Asking questions means I just want you to help me get to the answer you've predetermined was right. Questioning things means now we're critical thinking. And a lot of the shit you told me was bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Now let's talk about that. Let's talk about the foolishness that's going on around here.
Exactly, man. But these is it's amazing that they taught our people are from Africa, and we all know Africa is not a agriculture people from ancient times. We all know that. Like through my research, they're not an agriculture people. They're not a seafaring people, right? That automatically separates us from them. That automatically makes us these great people they speak about in these ancient books. Because we are the seafarers. We got Phoenician ships carved on side of mountains. We got Hebrew ships carved on side of mountains and stones all over America, up by the Great Lakes, up and down the Mississippi River. So we are showing our ancient culture was a seafarer, right? And we're showing that we knew astrology because the mounds aligned with stars. And we're showing we are agriculture people because we got all these ancient agriculture fields that have been taken and turned into, farms for YT farmers today. So once we put that into context, we understand that we are not just pushing this narrative just to be pushing it. Everything we got, everything that comes from the basics of this teaching is on this land, and we see it every day. And if you visit one of these other countries, you will see that what we're talking about is not there. So we got to get back to that power that we once possessed on our land, and like you say, come together and become self-sufficient again some type of way, because everything is stemming from this part of the world, and it bothers me that people are still trying to push it and teach it as if it comes from some other place.
Hey, that's the truth, man. That Phoenician thing, man, that shit is real, man. The Phoenicians established Carthage, but they got a Carthage in South America, right?
It's a Carthage in Mississippi,
Uh, hey,
bro.
look. So the thing
Bro,
is, like, it's really like, so which Red Sea did the Phoenicians sell on, right? Because watch, look at this. Let me see if right. Let me see. Shit, I thought. Right. On the Phoenician crafts, the ocean beats, who through the Red Sea sail and change their seats, right? This is a poem about them seeking foreign trade, right? Being seafarers, right? And the Phoenicians founded Carthage, right? They called them Redskins.
that's what Phoenix means. Red
Yeah. You know what
man.
I'm saying? They called them the Red Man. They called them Redskins, right?
The Greeks changed it from Sidonians to Phoenicians.
Exactly. And they established Carthage, right? Now look at these buildings. This shit is in Carthage. Carthage, South America. Come on now.
Oh man.
But they'll tell you that it ain't shit. For one, they'll tell you everything's brand new. We know that they're gonna say that. And then they'll try to tell you that it's not what we see. Like, what is this? Right? These are ancient buildings in Carthage, South America.
Yep.
Right? And the Red Sea, right? So there's two concepts of the Red Sea, right?
Yep. Gulf of Mexico and California.
Indeed.
Exactly. Both of them turn red with plankton.
Hey, look, but I
I
think,
think both of them got something to do with it. Me
right,
personally.
and I agree, right. But one of the reasons why I agree is because remember that live where I was talking about you did a fire video to that shit too. Um, we were talking about the four corners,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
These are like promised land concepts, right? And then when you think about the Red Sea selling, I mean the Red Sea, right? It was
Yeah.
parted, right? Moses parted the Red Sea. I was looking, right, because they have a dam, right? And because I was like, man, what's going on with the Colorado River and all this shit, and like the Grand Canyon? They have a dam, and if that dam was to release, it's enough water to fill a state, right? To flood a state, right?
Yeah.
But that dam would go through the Colorado River. It would raise it up, and then the minerals in the Colorado River would turn it red. And then I was like, damn, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? All these things are connected. And then I was like, well, let me go look at the Colorado flag. And when I looked at the Colorado flag, I found a Red Sea. And I was like, well, you know, they speak in codes, right?
Exactly. You got a red sea on the flag.
You feel me? I was like,
That's
well,
crazy.
you know, because a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? So you got a Red Sea being parted, right? And then this is the same shape of the average dam. You know what I'm saying? And there's 91,000 dams in
So you
America.
said the blue represents really the water
Facts.
separating the red sea.
You know what I mean?
That's crazy. That's crazy, bro.
That was the kind of shit that's just the kind of shit I be thinking about, man. Because I know, like,
Well,
when you,
it's a reason they made it like that, bro.
yeah, there's no like the same thing with the California flag. There's a reason they made it like that too, right?
With the
Because
bear.
yeah, because you know, like they tell you to pray to the east, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, the east is inside of you, right? So you know the kingdom of God is inside of you. The east is in you, right? The west is behind you. The east is in you, right? So they disoriented you. Disorient literally means to turn from the east, right?
Exactly.
So disorient, right? Orient means the east. To disorient means to turn from the east, right? That's why we look. That's why we look outside of ourselves, right? Because
Exactly.
we've been turned from the east, so we look outside of ourselves to pray and to find God, right? But with those things being said, the north and the south are different, right? That's why when you look on the California state flag, you see Ursa Major and the North Star. You feel me? Because they're letting you know where the North really is. Like you've been disoriented, you don't know anything that's going on, right? So we could just put that shit right in front of your face, and you won't know what's happening.
Exactly. That's crazy.
But if we were back in nature, we would know exactly what's going on because the signs are all there. You know, they use the stars to trick us. We could use the stars to orient ourselves again
Break the code. Exactly.
because that's all they did. They did it everywhere. They did it in the magic too. But when you like for people that do these kind of things, you know, if you're connected to the stars and shit like that, you would have to know your directions. And if you don't know your directions and you don't know who you're bringing forth, right? You don't know what energy you're dealing with if you don't know what direction to face because all of these different rituals you do, there's directions to things. You know, it truly is, you know. And then if you get into the astrology and astronomy, you got to be able to track the moon by minutes and seconds and degrees, right?
Exactly.
It's not a game out here. Like it's
Now
math.
let me ask you a question. What you think about this? Now these ancient cultures that were great around the world. I'm starting to link them to tribe names, right?
Facts.
Cause Sumar got something to do with Issachar. That's a fact. I didn't study this. Sumar, the name Sumar got something to do with it's a connection with Issachar. which is a tribe, right? And then they still got something to do with the Choctaw and the Chickasaw was saying the same words, right? The Tula and Tola.
Right.
So if Mizraim is Egypt
Indeed.
and the Captorium, which is the people that was in Greece, is under the same bloodline as Mizraim. Then you get the Sumerian, which is the bloodline of I think there's Ham, which is Nimrod, and then you get not as Cush. I'm sorry, Cush is the bloodline of the ancient Mesopotamia. So now I'm starting to connect it to like different people leaving different areas over here, settling in these areas over there, and they are like the ancestors of when they start talking about these people in the Bible.
Right.
Like this stuff is getting. I'm trying to break it down to a
Hey,
to like.
look, hey, I'm gonna tell you the universe. Hold on, hold
Like, let me
on.
give y'all an idea of what I'm talking about too, right? Because I want people to understand what I'm trying to say. Now, what I'm trying to say is the land of Shem, right? They talked about the Arphax. The Arphax bloodline was Indus or Indian. Then you see Salah. Then you see Eber, right? Salah bloodline comes. Then you see Eber, which is Hebrew. Now y'all see that. Now you see where it say Arphax, right? So when I go to Arphax or to the old, it says the Arphax or the Chaldeans, right? It was something I wanted to show y'all about this. Now this is how these people looked. This is how they looked. The sons of Arphax. You see it? Now we get to going into like the Chaldeans. But I want to show y'all a receipt of when it says about they were Indus or Indian, right? I want y'all to see that receipt because it's very important to what I'm trying to say. Let me see. I hope I can find it. Now here it is right here. Now you see where it says Indus and Indian are a race of the Arphaxed. Y'all see that? Where it says who was Indus and
Yes,
Indian?
it's 4 lines up from the bottom.
Yeah, said to have been the race of the Arphaxed. Now when I go into the Arphaxed, which is the bloodline of Shem, which is all this the Bible stuff come from. Now look at this right here. This is the bloodline. See Arphax right under Shem? They say these people are Indus or Indian, right? They are talking about a tribe that comes from here. It all go together, right? And then these people were they were travelers and they were melanated people like this, right? Sons of Arphax. And they was and like you see, you say the Hebrew Bible used the term Kasdim, translated as Chaldeans. Chaldeans are the Arphaxed. We know that at this point they're part of that bloodline of people. So all this stuff go together. We just gotta kind of decipher it to where people can understand it. Now you see how it says the Arphaxidites who are now called Chaldeans. And this
That's
stuff,
so that word like
yeah.
it would be Arfrashad.
Yeah, Arphaxad is one of the people
Yeah,
he was his name. I think he was in the Bible.
that's that name right there that you're saying.
Yeah, that's
That's
where it come from.
but
Arphaxad come
that's
from the Arpha.
the original pronunciation of it.
Exactly.
Hey, but look, that everything you're saying right now it goes in that there's a reason why I showed the the California state flag, right? Because it lets you
Yeah.
know that this is the Northern Kingdom. So when you talk about the 10 tribes of Israel, they existed in the Northern Kingdom, right?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Right. That's why it was so important for them to disorient us so that they can place, because
Place it over there.
if this is the Northern Kingdom, then that would make that the Southern Kingdom, right? In that direction that they're going. So they just had to flip the maps, or flip our thought process, and they could take everything here and put it over there. And then we wouldn't we wouldn't know any better. But now that we've recalibrated our inner compass, it
Exactly.
shouldn't be adding up no more.
So now I started to, after I got to that point years back, I get to the point of trying to go into the tribes and see which one of these tribes got a connection to these ancient cultures around the world, right? So then I find the Abnaki Indians of the Northeast, the Micmac, up that way in the Northeast of America, and I started to see like the Assyrian, or I gotta find the name of these Indians. They left Maine and went to Louisiana. What's the name of the Indians in Louisiana that starts with an A? I can't think of it. It's the but that bloodline came from the Northeast, so it kind of sounds like Assyrian, but it's a little different. But it's up around the New Jersey area, so that area is those people who look like Sumerians from ancient culture who left here, who left that area, because the names are all the same. Like you got Iraq, then you got Iroquois. You see what I'm saying?
Facts.
Iraq ain't nothing but the first part of Iroquois. Acadians, there it is. Solid 994, know you from Louisiana, you know. Acadia, right? The Acadia bloodline came from the Northeast. Now you got Acadia in the Middle East. So it looks like our people were taking these names over there, naming these places after places that come from here. Now, we all know ancient Acadia is in the New Jersey area because it's still named Acadia today.
Right.
Um, so that's the Sumerian style culture. Then you
Yeah,
get
hey,
Mizraim.
look, this might sound crazy. They got a cartoon about Merlin and some wizard shit going on, but the Acadia that they use and that is the Acadia that's in America.
Exactly. I saw that cartoon on TikTok too. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Now, then we get into Mizraim, right? Mizraim would kind of be somewhere in the southeast. I mean the southwest, like the desert area, like Colorado, Utah, Arizona.
Facts.
It got to be somewhere in that area because the Grand Canyon sits in Mizraim. That's why the people in the Grand Canyon look like the first people of Egypt. You see what I'm saying? Mizraim is the bloodline of the first Egyptian. So, and then we talk about Canaan, right? Canaan is up over the top of Mizraim, which is like Washington State, Oregon, um, like that area, right? Because they said a lot of the trees from like this area in Oregon and Washington State are some of the same trees the boats are built out of. They will not put this information out, but they say them big, huge redwood and cedar trees up there in Seattle and area and all that are the same tree that made the Phoenician boats, right? Then you look at the coast of Shur, Shur, which is like paradise, with like paradise reeds on the water. The bottom of California is named the coast of Shur, Shur. So I'm like, bro, it's really right there, and it goes along with the different people who left. And like I just told y'all, Indus is got something to do with art, with artifacts, right? Then you got the Indus Valley civilization, living like west of Samaria. These all our people settlements, bro.
Yeah, that's 100% what's going on, man.
So this shit is crazy. Like, it's hard for me to explain what I'm trying to. I know it, but it's hard to explain because it's so much.
I
But
think the hardest part to explain is like to people that are religious.
exactly,
You know what I mean? Because it's like if you really just think about it and you take the religion out of it and you look at it like, yo, the Bible is an allegory for something that is true. You
exactly,
just got to connect it. You got to take the bullshit out and then try to use this allegory to bring out the truth of what's going on somewhere else. And then once you place it over America and really start to focus and take the religion out of it and just use allegory, you really
and
start to find
then
something divine.
exactly. And then we talk about the snake people, which is Nachas in Hebrew, Nachhash. The first name for the Nile River was Nachal. So the same people that named the Natchez Indians in Mississippi named the damn Nile River. Nachal and Nachas and Natchez, all that shit is the same. See, it's a connection. Nachal is Hebrew for snake. Then you get Nachal Dalet, which is the like the snake delta. Like, it's like the Dalet is really the delta. Now delta is like Nachal Dalet. So why are our people over here, Indians, named after the same name that really named the first people to name the Nile? And then they say Nachal is connected to Nahas, Nahash, which is snake also, which is the snake that brought the apple to Adam and Eve. So they're really talking about our people the whole time, giving these people fruits, trying to make them be self-sufficient, and they went the religious way, right?
Hell yeah. And
So
look, it could be fruit, as in they were starving, and also like
knowledge,
the fruit of knowledge. Yeah, the fruit of wisdom.
knowledge, it's symbolism, like you say, it's always symbolism.
Exactly. And
So
that's why it could be seen as like a curse, right? Like the tree of life. If you eat from this tree, you'll know good and evil, and you'll know that you're naked. But it's really like this tree will give you consciousness and you'll be aware, right? But you're no longer a fool, so now you have to deal with the repercussions of your actions, because with this knowledge you can't just live in the mountains and eat each other. Now you have to handle yourself like you got some kind of sense,
exactly,
and
bro.
there's laws now.
And it seems like the symbolism is our people bringing the knowledge, right? They're bringing the knowledge. They're bringing the knowledge to these people at that time. So that's what it seemed like to me, bro.
Nah, that's what it seems like to me too. And the reason why, like for me,
Yeah,
for me, the reason why it's in the forms that you find it in, like these stories, is
yeah.
not because it's only because if you study just tracking the moon or just
I
tracking the
got you.
sun
I got to go. I got some people out here at my door, so I give y'all guys a call. I hit y'all back. Thank y'all so much for coming out, bro.